Hey guys, this is Benny Ricciardi with rotocurve.com, and I'm here with our DraftKings NBA plays for Wednesday, January 20th. There are four guys who we're going to be talking about who are guys that we think have the upside that can help you win a tournament today. So let's call up the slideshow and get into the four guys that we want to talk about. The four guys that we're going to discuss are Tobias Harris at 6,100, Nikola Vucevic at 7,300, Pau Gasol at 8,500, and CJ McCollum at 7,200. The first guy up on the list is Tobias Harris. He's in a great matchup against a bad 76ers defense. There's no Victor Oladipo for the Orlando Magic again today, which means that the production for all the guys on their roster who are playing those extra minutes are going to go up. Harris is a guy who's played 35 to 44 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games and scored well over 6x in 2 of those with 4.5x in the other one. He does have the potential upside for a 40-plus fantasy point day here, which would give him 6.5 to 7x value. I think that he is a little bit risky for cash games because there's also a chance that he can go for like 24 or 25 fantasy points and get you 4x. But I do like the matchup a lot, and I do like the fact that his production, his minutes, and basically all of his stats should be up a little bit with no Victor Oladipo in there. Another guy on the Orlando Magic who we're looking at tonight is Nikola Vucevic. He has the same great matchup against this Philly team. Philly has allowed an absolute ton of points to opposing centers so far this year. And one of the reasons for that is Okafor is not a very good rebounder, and he also gets a lot of his shots blocked. So the opposing centers that have been going up against him have been putting up really good numbers in the block shots category as well as in the rebounding category. Vucevic has played 35 to 40 minutes in 3 of his last 4 games. And in each of those games where he's seen at least 35 minutes, he's been able to put up at least 42 fantasy points, which at his price today would put him right about 6x value. And again, in such a good matchup, he even has the upside where he can get you, 45 to 50 fantasy points today. So I think he is a guy that I'm going to have in a lot of my rosters. Another center option who I think is going to be low owned and has the upside to win you a tournament is going to be Pau Gasol at 8,500. Now, yes, it is a tough matchup against Golden State. Not that their center defense is great. I know Bogut is known as a very good, center defender, and Ezeli's been pretty solid this year as well. But again, we still see this team playing a lot of games where a lot of points are scored. And one thing we know Pau Gasol can still do is score points. He put up 60 fantasy points in his last game on the back of, 30-something real-life points and like 15 or 16 rebounds as well. Ever since Noah went out, he's playing about 35 minutes now. So it is an uptick in minutes for Pau, and with the uptick in minutes, we've seen an uptick in his production. His rebounding and his scoring were up, and if they're going to have a chance to win today, they're going to need Pau to have a big game. So I think that the Chicago Bulls have a good chance to stay in this, and I think there's a good chance that we see Pau put up a number in the 42 to 50 fantasy point range, which would be a pretty solid return for what he has here. I think he's cash game safe. I don't know if I love his upside at the high price that he's at already. I don't think he's going to repeat the 60-point performance. But again, nobody on Golden State, to me, is anywhere near as good or as big a threat to him as Andre Drummond was last game. And with the added minutes he saw last game, he was still able to put up 60. So I do think Pau is going to be somebody who gets slept on a little bit today and does have that big upside that can help you, win a tournament or differentiate your lineup in the head-to-head. The last guy we're going to talk about is CJ McCollum. High total game at 208 here with a close spread of +2 versus the Atlanta Hawks. He has the best defensive matchup as he's probably going to be guarded by Kyle Korver at the shooting guard spot. Korver is probably one of the weak links that they have on that Atlanta team, and I think that this is a really good spot for McCollum. Damian Lillard has really struggled the past 2 games. After coming out on fire off of his injury and putting up some 50-point games, he's had some really bad 20, 30-point games in his last couple. The only other guy I see on this Portland team capable of picking up his scoring to help make up for Lillard is CJ McCollum here. So I think that McCollum at 7,200 in a good matchup in a game that's supposed to be high scoring, where the spread's supposed to be close and he's going to get his full allotment of minutes, I think this is a sneaky spot to look at him for. I think he's really cash game safe, as I would be, shocked if he doesn't get me 35 fantasy points today. And I also think he has upside because, like I said, if Lillard has a tough matchup and he's been struggling, I feel like Portland's going to go look in McCollum's way a little more, and he does have the softest of the matchups that you can have against this Hawks team today. So those are the 4 guys that we're looking at that are going to be in a lot of our rosters. Again, as we always tell you guys, this is a starting off point when you look at these videos of guys to use and guys to fade. you really got to pay attention to the late breaking news. There's going to be some guys that open up for value. There's going to be some guys who get bumped up because some of the other big stars that, are big shot takers on their team are going to be out. So this is just like your first starting off point. Make sure you use it to build some lineups, get some lineups into some of these tournaments. And then, make sure you check back at least a half hour before lineup lock. Make sure nothing crazy happens. Make sure none of the stars are out or, other guys aren't going to be playing, because there are a lot of other guys that you can look at as well. It's a large slate tonight. I think we got 10 games, 20 teams in action. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. Remember, try to stay towards the high total games. You want games with high totals and low spreads. Usually means those games are going to be close, back and forth, feature a lot of scoring. And we've seen a lot of people, especially if you're going into some of these big, 5,000, 10,000 entry tournaments. We've seen a lot of people taking these down lately by stacking up 4 or 5 guys from the same team in those games, and then adding in some of the top value plays and studs on the day. So just keep that in mind as a roster construction tip for you guys. Hopefully I see your names up at the top of the leaderboard somewhere near mine tonight, and hopefully we all make some money. So thank you for joining us here at rotocurve.com. And as always, stay classy, DFS.